Monday, May 8, 2000. Microsoft this week will respond to the government's landmark ruling to break the company in two by asking for a delay in the trial. And the latest in the investigation for the source of the LoveBug computer virus. Time is a critical factor.
First Business, America's news and information leader. Now, here's Trish McShane.
Good morning from Washington. Barton Eckert has the day off. The Microsoft debacle continues this morning. The software giant is said to be preparing a proposal requesting up to a 6-month delay when it submits its reply to the government's proposed remedy in the antitrust case by this Wednesday. The Justice Department submitted proposals last month that would break Microsoft basically into two separate companies, one for Windows operating systems and one for the other Microsoft properties. On Asian markets overnight in Japan, stocks ended mixed, with investors buying lower-priced shares and steering clear of high-tech stocks. The dollar gained ground against the yen. The Nikkei also down on the session. In Hong Kong, stocks rallied strongly early on, but then closed down. South Korea's market, one of the region's only gainers. Malaysia and Indonesia finished higher. Australia's all ordinaries index, also down slightly. Among our other top stories this morning, hundreds are evacuated from flood-ravaged Missouri, and authorities are closing in on the LoveBug virus suspect. Here with all news headlines this morning is Liz Brummond. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning, Trish. And good morning, everyone. The National Guard is on its way to parts of Missouri and Oklahoma devastated by floods. The high water has swept at least 3 people to their deaths. Missouri's governor has declared parts of that state a flood emergency after torrential rains left behind extensive damage. Hundreds of residents were forced out of their homes. 2 people died in submerged vehicles. The water is now receding, but not before up to 14 inches of rain fell yesterday.
Just come in so fast. It's like it just come. Yeah. It was at the top of the bank there behind the house, and within 20 minutes it was in the house.
And in Tulsa, Oklahoma, police say a 53-year-old woman died while trying to get out of her car, which was trapped in high water. They say she was sucked into a whirlpool that formed in this creek. One official calls it the worst flooding there in 30 years. President Clinton travels to New York today to remember Cardinal John O'Connor. The influential Catholic leader will be laid to rest today.
He was the feet to our lameness. He was the father to all of us.
O'Connor was remembered yesterday at a mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. The 80-year-old O'Connor had been in poor health for many months. He died last Wednesday. Along with the First Family, Vice President Gore will be among the dignitaries expected to attend. The search for the creator of the I Love You computer virus is focused on the Philippines. Investigators say they're looking for one person from that country, but no arrests have been made. The so-called LoveBug bit the computer world last week. The FBI's lead investigator, Michael Vadas, says the FBI is cooperating with Philippine authorities in the investigation. The virus hit at least 45 million users in at least 20 countries last week. And that is a wrap of headlines. I'm Liz Brummond for First Business. Trish.
Thanks, Liz. And if you're preparing for your summer vacation, here's some good news. It looks like prices at the pump have flattened out over the past 2 weeks. That's according to the latest Lundberg survey of 10,000 gas stations across the country. The price for self-serve regular remained at $1.48 a gallon, while mid-grade and premium dipped less than a penny. The average pump price nationwide was down a quarter cent to $1.52 and 9/10 from 2 weeks ago. And checking your national forecast, unseasonable heat continues in the east, while the nation's midsection gets some rain. Here's All News Channel's Melissa Nollinger.
A large storm system is pushing its way through the Great Plains region of the U.S., bringing severe weather along with much-needed rain. The storms will hit the Great Lakes this afternoon. More rain is expected through the areas of the Rockies, but a warm and sunny day for the southeast and desert southwest. For the highs, 80s for the eastern half of the U.S., but 60s and 70s below that low-pressure front producing storms in the Midwest, and up to the 90s and triple digits in the southwest. Melissa Nollinger, First Business.
Coming up on First Business this morning, a little-known upstart website is taking on some big boy tech-heavy territory. We'll check out their proposed agenda for success.
This portion of First Business is brought to you by Conoco. Think big, move fast. Conoco.
One energy company had an idea to build an ultra-deepwater drill ship capable of drilling nearly 2 miles below the ocean's surface. And last year, that ship struck oil. Conoco. Think big, move fast.
From the law offices of Ronnie Lindeutsch.
Do you owe back taxes? Business or personal, the IRS is now reconciling back-owed taxes, levies, liens, payroll taxes, as well as penalties at a fraction of what's owed. Qualified tax professionals will negotiate and resolve your tax nightmares. Call now before the program ends. We can help, and all calls are confidential. Call 800-334-6900 now.
Hot tippers, midnight surfers, best friends, TV experts, handshakers, ex-neighbors, family brokers, online pokers, smart cookies. Ask everyone. Then before you invest, investigate at Morningstar.com, an oasis of unbiased analysis and expert insight so you can sift through chatter and invest smarter. Morningstar.com, your first, second opinion.
Looking ahead at the main events on this week's economic calendar, a lighter than average week with no reports due out today. Tomorrow, the wholesale inventories report for March will be released. On Thursday, retail sales figures for April, a report keenly watched by the Fed as an indicator of consumer spending. And closing out the week, the Producer Price Index, a key gauge of inflation at the wholesale level, and March business inventories. Wall Street investors begin the week on a positive note following Friday's convincing rally that sent the Dow up 165 points and the Nasdaq up 96. Market watchers still believe that Friday's strong employment report has virtually ensured a half-point rate hike when the Federal Reserve meets on May 16th. The long bond opens at 6.19%. The NYSE Composite Index was up on extremely low volume of just over 800 million shares. On the move, GE up once again ahead of today's 3-for-1 stock split. Shares of number one chip maker Intel moved higher. Sun Microsystems gains helped the Nasdaq climb. Nortel Networks surged after an analyst at Morgan Stanley said the company's shares could rise up to 30% over the next year. Beleaguered online retailer Amazon.com also got help from some positive brokerage recommendations, a buy rating from Lehman Brothers. And LightPath Technologies soared almost 24% after the maker of glass used for lasers and fiber optics said it plans to expand production and triple capacity. With more on Wall Street's non-reaction to the strong inflationary numbers, here's correspondent Dave Browdy of Reuters Financial Television in New York.
After a bearish week, the markets rebounded to end on an up note despite worrying signs of inflation. Unexpectedly strong jobs data released by the Labor Department showed the nation's unemployment rate is at levels not seen since 1970. The drop to 3.9% unemployment with rising wages generally signals higher inflation, but analysts say the news has already been priced into the market, and investors shrugged off the news, sending the blue chips up 165 points, while the Nasdaq jumped 96. But volume for the second day in a row was the lowest of the year. The full extent of the love bug's bite was felt by businesses around the world. to the tune of over $2 billion, according to the firm Computer Economics. The virus, which infected computers through an email entitled "I Love You," was responsible for a rekindling of investors' romance with computer security firms that make antivirus software. McAfee and Network Associates both up strongly on the day. Investors decided Cisco Systems had hit the mark by acquiring internet switching equipment firm ArrowPoint in a deal worth nearly $6 billion. Usually the purchaser in a big deal like this sinks on the news, but Cisco gained about 5% on the day, signaling strong investor confidence in the networking giant. And checking the final numbers, the Dow was up 1.6% for the session to 10,577. That's still down for the week, though. The S&P 500 up 1.6%. That's 23 points. And the Nasdaq up 2.6% on the session. That's the Reuters Market Report. From the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Dave Browdy.
Checking the markets in the UK this morning, the FTSE 100 begins trading higher this morning after a strong finish last week. The FTSE 100 closed up 39 at 62.38. The yen was also higher. The pound off. The Swiss franc and the euro both up this morning. Brent North Sea crude closed at $25.29 the barrel, up 14 cents in New York trading. Investors in Mexico City had the day off on Friday in observance of the Battle of Puebla holiday. Trading will resume this morning. Well, there's been a lot of talk among economists about the wealth effect. Consumer spending is up, but what are people spending their money on? Everything, it seems. Larger cars, larger homes. The boom has also allowed many to enter the art market. Business correspondent Karen Hendren reports.
Some pay $20,000, others just $20. Whatever the budget, more Americans are buying art than ever before. The art market grew to $12 billion in 1998, up 10% over the prior year, according to industry tracker Unity Marketing.
There are a lot more people that are educated collectors today. There's a lot of disposable income, thanks to the stock market.
A Unity Marketing survey found that Americans spent $7 billion in fine art galleries in 1998. But art sales aren't relegated to high-end buyers. Interest in art is also peaking among the American middle class. Mall-based art chains and home decor retailers have given many Americans an affordable means of appreciating art in their homes. And not just on canvas. Art licenses are rapidly being applied to everything from rugs, furniture, t-shirts, and stationery. EPM Communications reports that art licenses generated $5.4 billion in sales in 1998. Analysts and economists say one of the factors driving this spending is confidence in the economy.
There's more income out there for people to spend.
In fact, personal income rose 0.7% last month, the fastest pace since the beginning of the year. The ease of buying art on the internet has also played a role. E-commerce sites like Art.com and auction sites like eBay and Sotheby's have also lowered the barriers between artwork and buyers. In New York, I'm Karen Hendren reporting.
Still ahead on First Business, it's a new thrill ride that takes you so high that the government had to give a thumbs up to build it.